feels like we have a party that is working towards some greater, not good, that has something to do with an undead monster, undead deity, or something that wants to bring about maybe an apocalypse or something.
Yeah, I could definitely see all of this leaning towards some kind of apocalypse or
Orcus. They're all working for Orcus.
that works in my opinion. I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
And I'm Nerdarchy Dave.
Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. All right, looks like it's time to get evil today.
We are going to get a little dark and evil. We're going to do another video where we build a adventuring party. The composition, we'll do 4, 5, 6 characters to the party, and we're going to make it an evil party. This part is really tough because really, how do you define an evil character, evil character classes? Because that's what we're kind of looking at. Because technically, any character class could be an evil character, but we're going with like what's more thematic based off of how the subclasses themselves are built.
Right. So, everything, as Dave says, can be evil. Every subclass, anything can be played across any of the spectrum of alignments without a problem. Alignments are one of those things that are, a little bit wishy-washy when it comes to 5th edition, and it's like almost kind of falling off out of the mechanics. But let's dive into, what is evil and, what looks like what.
All right, so we're going to go through all the character classes first, and we'll go over what we think are the darker subclasses for each of them. First, we're going to start off with Artificer. None. Yeah. I looked through them and I'm like, they're all pretty neutral.
Yeah, when you look at them like you are into building things, none of them have a darker theme. None of them kind of get into it. I think at best you might be like, well, the alchemy could go this way, or the battlesmith could be very militant and you can make an evil thing, but you could make anything be evil, So yeah. I don't feel like in Artificer anything really fits into the mold we're looking for. So second up, we have Bard, and with this one, we're looking at the College of Whispers.
Yeah, so the College of Whispers definitely has that worm tongue, evil advisor feel to it, where you're the power behind the throne. You're whispering in the ear of someone who's in charge of things, and by choice, like you could be powerful enough to do it on your own. But I feel like this type of bard would rather be in the background, whispering in the ear.
But the question is there something whispering in your ear as you whisper into somebody else's? So are you being manipulated? So that's kind of a direction that I see, is that, some of this bardic power that you have is, somebody else manipulating you to their ends.
Yeah, and they also, they cause fear, they do psychic damage, they pry the secrets out of someone. All of that it leans in the darker direction. Next up, Barbarian, and I found one that I felt could work because it's very primal and savage in its nature. And
that's going to be Path of the Beast in one of the games that we're playing. Dave runs. There is a Path of the Beast Barbarian, and they've got some savage aspects going on. Now, any barbarian can be savage, sure, but if we're looking for the most savage, I think Path of the Beast is the one that's going to...
Not all barbarian paths grow fangs, talons, and tails, right? So I think you could very much theme this one that you're possessed by a fiend or something of that nature, and you take on those aspects. I think that would be a cool variation of the Path of the Beast.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I quite dig that direction as well. With Cleric, we actually have several different options. The Grave Cleric, the Death Cleric, I mean, both of them already have this, undead, unnatural vibe going along with it.
You also have Trickery and War as well. So, there's definitely, not all war gods are evil, but some of them very much are. So you could lean into those aspects. You could be all about the slaughter and murder. Trickery can be mischief, or it could be a bit darker than that. Death could very much be, more, Death and Grave really could both be more about undead and seeing things get snuffed out than the other aspects of the Grave, because Grave can also be very like Keeper of the Dead, but it can go the other way.
And war, you could very much be like, well, yeah, I'm into war, but I'm into conquest.
Yeah.
And I think, that's an aspect that we'll see later on as well. So, like, there's definitely plenty of cleric-y options to choose from.
So Druid, we get two options. We get the Circle of the Moon and Circle of the Spores.
And now, Circle of the Moon, obviously this is our favorite for, being able to change into animals. It's probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular, Druid subclasses. And if you're getting into, the lycanthrope angle of things and the natural hunter, I think Circle of the Moon could easily tie into the same aspects that we look at with the Path of the Beast Barbarian.
For sure. And then Spore is very much... you can make, you can reanimate corpses. They're not actually real zombies in the sense they're undead, but you are mucking with corpses. They give poison. They have their spores. They just feel a bit off and creepy as far as druids go. Yeah.
That'd be icky. Next up, we have Fighter, and just like Artificer, none of them really fit the mold of evil by, theme or mechanics. But when we look at, the fact that you are a martial character, anything can really be tied into evil because as a fighter, your job is to kill things.
Next up, we have Monk, and with Monk, we get a couple options, one of them being Way of the Shadow.
As well as the Way of the Long Death, I feel both of these have a little bit on the shadier end or darker end of things.
Yeah, Way of the Shadow is pretty much just straight up a ninja, and then the Long Death, like, you can disrupt people's life force and things of that nature, so that feels like it could definitely be on the darker side.
Indeed. So next up is Paladin, and we have three of them. We have Oathbreaker, everybody's favorite Vengeance, as well as the aforementioned, when I was talking about clerics, Conquest.
Yeah, Oathbreaker is literally, hey, I was this kind of paladin, now I'm not because I broke my oath. So that seems like you might not be a good person. Conquest, rarely are conquerors good, all right?
And Vengeance, while, many things have been done in the mark of vengeance, vengeance is not really a good thing. We should be preaching tolerance, but, you're out to seek your revenge on something, and that in its very nature is not really a good thing to have.
It's not good for the soul. So Ranger was another one that I thought was going to be a nun, but I was like, you know what? Let me look at these. And I think the Swarm Keeper could be creepy and dark.
I agree. I've actually had a number of different concepts. I really love the mechanics of the Swarm Keeper. I've got probably like 6 different Swarm Keeper ideas for characters that I want to play. But with one of the games that I'm involved in or running, I've got a Necromancer character who started doing some things, and I'm like, oh, how cool would it be to have like a Necromancer Swarm Keeper, to have like a whole bunch of like undead things flying around him all the time. And that just kind of stuck with me for a while. So like when Dave put Swarm Keeper on there, I'm like, yep, I can totally see that happening because it's already been in my head.
Rogue is another one. You have Assassin stands right out. And then the other one that might not be like super obvious is the Inquisitive. But I think of Inquisitive makes me think of Inquisition, witch hunters, those that maybe sometimes dabble in things that they shouldn't. You have to use evil to beat evil, and their methods might be a bit extreme to the point where it pushes them across the line.
Anything to get the job done, winds up doing a lot of things to get the job done, and you become the thing that you're after. The assassin, it's right there in the name. You murder people. Like that's what you do.
You murder people for money, essentially. Generally not a good thing.
So yeah, that's the difference between a killer and assassin, is the assassin gets paid for it. So yeah, that's pretty harsh. So next up is Sorcerer. We've got the Aberrant Mind and Shadow Magic.
Yeah, both of these could definitely fall into the category. Drawing from the demiplane of Shadow. And also, the plane of Shadow used to have much more darker
connotations.
Connotations in the past. And you could lean into that as well, using negative energy and things of that nature. And Aberrant Mind is like, you're touching on the, otherworldly powers, the realm of chaos, the far realm. So definitely, maybe you may not even see yourself as evil, but you just might be off your rocker and be completely immoral.
Slightly canted, very canted. Who knows? I don't know. You're crazy.
Warlock. Warlock, yes.
Yeah, insert any of them. They're all. You're a warlock. You're making a contract with a greater being for power. That's not generally a good thing anyway.
Unless you're celestial, but there are some ones that really definitely stand out.
What do we got?
So we've got Fiend, Great Old One.
We've got the Hexblade, and of course, Undead.
I mean, Undying maybe too, but I just don't like that one, so we left it off. That is much better. But yeah, all of these are drawing from darker aspects. You're getting your power from sources that are not great. So there's a good possibility that you're doing that because, like attracts like sometimes.
Yeah, and you could even throw Fae on there because, like, the Fae is, are you tapping into the Summer Court or the Winter Court, or the good Fae or the bad Fae? So Fae could just as easily be just as evil as any of the others. But, so it goes back to that comment of Warlock, yes. So last up, we have Wizard, and that's going to be Conjuration, Enchantment, or Necromancy. Let's face it, a conjurer, you are pulling things from other places to do your bidding.
And with that one, I just think like Demon Summoner anyway. Right?
Demon Summoner totally works, but I mean, your job or your trade is to bind other things to your service. Holy crap, that sounds crazy. Some of the conjuration spells, you can literally be like, yep, you're an elemental, you're going to now serve me for a while. And when you start layering some of those things, it can get pretty creepy. Necromancy, I don't need to say anymore. And then when you look at enchantment, yeah, it doesn't naturally seem that, but, things like suggestion. All right, I'm going to put this idea in your head, and for the next 8 hours, you're going to do this thing. You got a high enough level wizard, and you've got a workforce. Hey, could you come help me out? Boom, 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 boom. Go mine for me.
Yeah, I mean, Conjuration, you're binding creatures to you. Necromancy, you're creating evil creatures. And then Enchantment, you're binding the will of other people to yours. So what's consent? I don't know. I'm an enchanter. We don't do that. So, yeah, those three definitely work.
Yeah, and all of the rest of them, really could be... like we said earlier, anything can be twisted and put to an evil task. We're both creative enough to really be like, oh, you want to bend something? Sure, let's bend this. It's all doable. But these we felt were the most evil or the easiest to bend into that shape of evil.
All right, let's build a party. We'll start off with our four-person party first.
All right, so whenever you're talking about a party of four, I always want to fill those typical roles, something clerical, something fightery, something roguey, and something wizardly. So for the rogue, we're going to go with assassin, and for the cleric, I got to say the death domain, is my tops.
And then we went with the Oathbreaker Paladin and the Necromancer for our wizard. And also the cleric, the Necromancer, and the Oathbreaker, they definitely have some crossover because the 7th level ability for the Oathbreaker Paladin is to buff undead and fiends.
Yeah, so this is going to be very easy to have these characters working well together, especially those three. Maybe your rogue assassin is, your loner that works off to the side to pick off things so that they, the others can create undead out of them and move on. But
thematically, story-wise, so I could see the three working together towards a similar goal, and the assassin just being hired to be muscle, kind of. And murder things.
Right. And, if you're an assassin, it's very easy to be like, yeah, I like killing things. You guys are going to go kill things? Great, let's do this together.
For our five-man party or five-person party, we've decided to add some more muscle with the Path of the Beast.
Yeah, so that adds in, and if we add into this, this greater power bestowing more of this undead or fiendish ability into, this barbarian, maybe they take on a more creepy aspect as opposed to just a pure primal. It fits in, but you know what? Just like the rogue, maybe this is just, another hired hand, to go along because let's face it, barbarians like killing just like the rogues assassins.
So for our six-person party, what are we going to add?
So for this one, I really felt like we've got our martial aspects covered with the barbarian, the paladin, and the rogue. So it's time to add some more spellcasting into it. So I had to go with the College of Whispers Bard.
So I would say spellcasting as well as buffing and debuffing, because that's what the College of Whispers Bards does. It can do all those things, or it can just hurt people. So I think it fits with the vibe of the rest of the party. And, you know, it feels like we have a party that is working towards some greater, not good, that has something to do with an undead monster, undead deity, or, you know, something that wants to bring about maybe an apocalypse or something.
Yeah, I could definitely see all of this leaning towards some kind of apocalypse or, you know...
Orcus. They're all working for Orcus.
that works, in my opinion. So if you like this video, others like it, as well as all the great content we've got over on Nerdarchy.com, why not come check us out on Patreon and support us over there?
Articles like Evil is a Spectrum.
If you're looking for another way to support Nerdarchy, why not come check us out over on Nerdarchy.com and check out the store? If you're looking for some dark paths, why not check out The Winter Lord's Throne? The 5th edition content in this book explores new, darker paths for adventurers to follow. Beginning down one of these dark paths leads to power, but at a perilous cost. Here is the dark face insurmountable odds and challenging decisions, whether it is worth the cost to fight against such forces by tapping into the same source of insidious influence as their terrible foes. A massive complex resides within the gargantuan throne of the Winter Lord. An important icon from a northern village has been taken into the complex, and they need it to be returned to help stimulate the spring thaw and allow the agriculture in their community to take place. Will you be able to return it to the community? Can you withstand the tide of the dead in the order to do so? Adventure scenario for 4 9th level characters, 5 new creatures including a unique NPC Acolyte of the Winter Lord, a new ranger archetype, the Stygian Shadow, 4 new magic items, and a new playable race, the Dullahan.
Let us know what you would put in your evil party in the comments below.
While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, even go ahead and click on that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
Quick reminder, we drop new videos here on the channel Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so come on back. But you can't wait till then. No worries, got you covered. There's a card up here. We've got another video about evil D&D parties, but will it ruin your game?
So until next time, stay nerdy.